So welcome everyone to the the April 10th, 2017 Kubernetes SIG Apps. Today, let me go ahead and paste the agenda into chat. We have a couple of announcements. We have some stand-ups just to get status because we've got a whole bunch of projects that have been going on. Then we have a demo, and then we'll have just some open discussion, and we can pick up any topics as needed. So my name's Matt Farina, for anybody who doesn't know me. Normally Michelle is here too, and she runs us about half the time, and it looks like she might be traveling today, so she may not be here. And so the first two announcements we have is if anybody wants to jump in and take notes, I've linked in the document. Go ahead and feel free to take notes as we go. If anybody wants to take on a more formal note taker, please go ahead and let me know if you'd like to do that. I know some people love to do that and look at our notes and say, hey, we need better notes than that. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead. If not, I'll be jumping in and taking notes. The other one is Michelle is she's doing some research on how developers are deploying apps into Kubernetes. And if anybody followed her keynote from the Cloud Native Con, you'll know that she talked a little bit about some needs and things there. And so she's looking to have one-on-one 30-minute conversations to capture your experiences. And so if you're up for having those conversations, her email address is in the meeting minutes, and I will go ahead and paste it here as well. Please feel free to reach out to her. She's trying to just capture details around this. I'm not exactly sure her reason for it yet, but I'm sure she'll come back and share, and some goodness will come out of it. And so if you have anything, please let her know. Please reach out to her. Please sit down and chat with her. And so with that, we have our updates on what is happening in Kubernetes core itself. And these are in the Kubernetes project rather than things like Helm and those other bits. And so we have a number of things happening in there. And so I will just run down real quick and see if anybody's on to let us know what's going on. And so the first one I'll reach out. Is anybody here to talk about stateful set, where that's at?
I can talk a little bit about it if nobody else is.
Sure, fantastic. The floor is yours.
Well, I was going to see is.
Hey, this is Eric. I'm here. I can also talk with Clayton.
Yeah, so I'll just talk about the little bit that I've been involved with. We had kind of two functional level things that are being urgently discussed. The most important is stateful set updates. So the proposal is up. The feature is in the features repo, and the proposal is up in the community repo for being able to do stateful set updates and have it work, in a similar, if not equivalent fashion to Damon Sets and to deployments to allow you to actually change stateful sets. There's been a lot of good discussion. It still needs a fair chunk more review, and folks who are interested in this topic should definitely check out the proposal now. And then the second one, which was there was a smaller feature request that started to come up in a lot of context, which was stateful sets are fairly conservative today and how they roll out new pods. And there have been several people who've wanted to more aggressively be able to scale up. And so I think there's kind of a general consensus that we should allow this, but we kind of need somebody who has some time to potentially sign up and volunteer to do that. So anybody who wants to get involved with stateful set might want to jump in actually, and I could point someone towards that feature request.
This is Quentin here. One quick thing to add. I just added to the chat log there the proposed federated stateful sets design. If anyone wants to chime in there, I think we've been through a fair amount of review so far, and we're ready to start developing. But if you want to give some late input, please feel free to do so.
All right, thank you. I didn't realize there was the proposal for the federated set design. That's great to see. All right, I just put all of those into the docs. Is there anything else on stateful sets? Are we good? I'll take silence as we're good. All right, the next one is, do we have anybody on who can discuss Damon Sets?
If there's no one else here, I could maybe say something there.
All right, thank you.
So I think we're trying to finalize, we want to have update history. And there's some question about how we're going to match previously created pods with their historical pod template. There's some question whether or not we're going to use hashes or template generation integers. And from where I stand, that has not been settled yet.
Yeah, and this also applies for deployment as well. The discussion regarding hashing versus pod template generation.
Also, I'd note that it kind of feels like there's a divergence between where we're going with Damon Sets and then the proposal for stateful set updates. So we have to think about how important it is to us that we have a consistent story across different controllers versus moving quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I would be worried if we can't come up with a reasonably generic way to track update history across multiple controllers, especially Damon Sets and stateful sets. So I know that's been key in some of the reviews I've seen so far.
Do you see that having converged, Clayton, or is that still open?
I don't think anyone has proposed a design that works, that fully flushes out the risks and challenges. Just so folks are aware, like with deployments, we get it easy because we create replica sets. It's really nice, succinct, makes a lot of sense. With stateful sets and Damon sets, there's a lot of downsides because we don't actually have a smaller controller that we want to use for that. So we need something to store it. There have been a couple proposals, something generic that works across lots of resources and could be reused, or something specific. And the generic approach has a lot of the same challenges that we're having with deployments right now, which is dealing with hashes and how do you look these things up. And the more specific version tends to be something that doesn't work across new controllers people might create. So I think that's the challenge.
Do you think it might make sense for us to summarize some of the competing points and get feedback from the SIG?
I think so, yeah. There's kind of 2 or 3 different comment threads going on right now, and I think it'd be good to have I think it's important enough that it deserves a summary for sure.
Maybe I'll put it on the agenda for next week and try to goon some people into presenting summaries.
That sounds good. If you if you've got folks and you want the time, just go ahead and put it in. You'll notice on the 17th, we don't have a significant number of things filled out for that yet. And so if we want to jump on that on the 17th, feel free to, and you're ready for it, feel free to just put that in. Great. In fact, you can put it ahead of the Helm Charts Best Practices Guide if you want. Okay. Great. All right. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about with that? Damon Sets? Fantastic. Then we can roll on to deployments and replica sets. Do we have anybody who can talk about that?
Yeah, so I will just paste a proposal I have in the chat regarding switching to template generation. There is some discussion ongoing, so if anybody from this group can chime in and comment or whatever, that would be nice.
So this proposal is, can you talk a little bit about what the proposal is?
Yeah, sure. It's related to what Eric already said about Damon Sets and the problem that we have. And we need to decide if we are going to continue with hashes, which is the way deployments create the names for the replica sets for their history, versus switching away from that because we have had some problems with hashing and switching to something more stable, like template generation, which is basically versioning your pod templates and use a number for your names. But both of them have pros and cons, so I guess there is more discussion that needs to happen.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else? All right, science is acceptance. All right, cron jobs. Do we have anybody on who can talk about cron jobs? All right. If we don't have anyone on for cron jobs, then how about improving TPR support?
Sorry, just to go back to cron jobs for a moment.
Sure.
We have a federated jobs proposal, which has been around for maybe 6 months or so. I'll stick the design doc in the chat forum. So yeah, it would be good to get feedback on that as well.
On TPR, there is kind of some work going on to pull together a proposal for kind of next steps that takes into account all the feedback. So that the hope was to get that up soon. That's mostly being done out of SIG API machinery, but I do think the intent would be that everybody who's a consumer of third-party resources today can realistically comment. And so I'll make sure that when that proposal does go up, that it cross-posts. A lot of it comes down to, just practically speaking, third-party resources as alpha. We made some mistakes, and if we fix them, that's going to be somewhat disruptive to people using third-party resources. And the hope would be that we can, at the same time, either document the process whereby the disruption is the same as if you ever needed in the future to have a breaking change to third-party resources. If you've got a third-party resource and you decide that you want to change behavior, how would you go do that today? There's some similarities between those two. And then if, various people, decide that that's going to be very impactful to them, there might be some desire to get people in the community to sign up to help support the backwards compatible path as an additional option. It's not something we generally do for alpha resources, but if it's important enough to the community and there's volunteers to go support that, that might be an option. So look for that sometime either this week or early next, and that'll go out to SIG Apps as well.
All right. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else on that, and I did link in the Federated Jobs proposal, then we've got stable pods. Did I read that right? Yep, I copied that. Is there anybody who can talk about stable pods?
Yeah, that's another proposal that's in the community repo, and it awaits more reviews. Basically, stable pods right now is it's a concept that we have in deployments and Damon Sets, which is how many pods are running for a specific amount of time, and we are trying to make it more robust in the pod API.
So it's how many pods are running for a specific amount of time?
Yeah, and that specific amount of time is an option, min-ready seconds, that you have right now in deployments and Damon Sets.
Okay.
There are some problems with the current state of things. One is clock skew, because a pod is marked ready by kubelets in nodes, and then you have the master components, the controller, which is taking the timestamp from the kubelet, and it's trying to compare it with the time that it has. So if clock skew there, you have a problem. And then there's also the pod disruption budget controller, which also needs to be aware of min-ready seconds and available stable pods. So
Okay.
this proposal solves a couple of issues that we have right now.
And I was actually going to add, I think this is a topic that it's good to maybe discuss here, and that a lot of people have the question often, like, how do I know that my services are working? And we've had a number of proposals over the last couple of years that attempt to talk about how do you summarize and roll up or have more sophisticated levels of quote unquote health or quote unquote readiness for a larger variety of components. So, if you've got a microservices application that's got 5 services, sometimes it's as simple as, well, hey, are there any, are all the deployments available? But then there's another set of questions, which is, well, if only half of them are available, what does that mean? And how do we encourage and help people build apps that can not only report their status accurately, but on the flip side, someone can understand that status by making it so that the platform itself might be aware of that. And that is maybe a larger discussion. But if people are on their own building apps and struggling with this question of how do I know when something's ready? How do I know that everything is ready or everything is working? There's probably a discussion that we could have in SIG Apps over the next couple of weeks, which is a summary of what we've done historically, and maybe some discussion about how we could see that happening. I know that it's come up quite a few times in issues recently.
I'll just add on to what Clayton said, that I'm excited about this feature. The way I look at it is it lets people writing operators, third-party resources, extensions correctly implement some somewhat tricky logic to decide if pods are ready.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of things are going to depend on that. So factors out some tricky code to the server side.
Yeah, and that kind of theme, I think, reinforces, like, we're at 1.6 right now, and so we're 6 releases in, and a lot of people have built real apps and are starting to build extensions. There's a lot of day-to-day sorts of pain that we as SIG Apps probably need to do a good job of helping summarize the feedback and what people are struggling with, and help make it easier to go do all of these things and to track what's going on, because it's not just about, is your stuff running, but is it actually working is a really important question.
Yeah.
To be able to show that in UIs and stuff too, in a universal way.
Mm-hmm.
So how long until you think you'd be ready to have a conversation here about it?
I know that it's not something that was really on the committed list for 1.7 or something that's been discussed. It's more of there's been a lot of discussions, right? So the component status was the thing that the proposal that someone started way back before even 1.0. And it's kind of the same problem of, like, hey, if you want to run a bunch of things on top of Kubernetes, like controllers or Elasticsearch or Heapster, how can you summarize that and show that up to people? And so I think what might be good is to try and pull together maybe a quick summary of the high level and see if we can link those issues, like all the issues that people have brought these topics up, so that we could discuss it. So maybe in a couple of weeks, that might be a good time. It would take some time, some volunteers to kind of help pull that together and be able to talk to the SIG and maybe get some KubeAdmin and the other folks involved in a discussion.
Clayton, agree with what you said, but you're talking about a broader problem, which definitely needs to be addressed. And we started on the more specific issue of stable pods. Do we want to group those or make progress on stable pods separately?
No. I think stable pods, is a very practical, pragmatic step. I think it's useful for this group of folks to help kind of pull that together. I think it fits under the SIG remit, and it's good that it's good for us to occasionally take the opportunity to do a step back and look at kind of the broad problem and say, are we doing enough? Are we helping other SIGs, et cetera? So yeah, I would say they're mostly separate.
All right. No, yeah, thank you. So when you've got something and you're ready to bring it, let's get it on the schedule to talk about this stuff. All right. Then the last one I have here for the status is defer containers. Is that on for 1.7? I saw it was added at the end of the thing. It's a proposal for POD cleanup or destructor functionality.
Hi, this is Dilip. I added it last week after our meeting.
Okay.
So that the primary intent of that proposal is to help us run stateful applications and help them terminate more cleanly. For instance, there are a lot of use cases. I thought I would mention that in the proposal. So it was just recently proposed, and it requires more people to look at it and suggest improvements on it. When we brainstormed internally within Huawei, what we found was that the only drawback we have in that proposal is that it cannot address. There is no strict guarantee if the node crashes. So the termination is still not done cleanly. The node crashes. So that's not something we could find an elegant solution. That's still a caveat in the design. But
Okay.
other than that, we feel that it seems to address most of the issues. So it seems to bring in some sort of elegant destructive functionality for pod. If pod is considered small, or you can run any arbitrary containers when the pod is getting terminated. So please do have a look at it and suggest anything to it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And so anybody who's interested, I put a link into the proposal, into the notes at Defer Containers. And so if you're interested in this, if you're interested in the destructors, please go ahead, follow through, and give feedback. Thank you. And so with that, we are now on to the demo, which is the app registry. Do we have somebody on to do this demo?
Hi, here Antoine. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I'm going to do a quick demo of app registry that was named previously, if you followed CNR. So it's a service to store application configuration, like Helm. Can be visual, like a way to release your application, like on PyPy, RubyGem, or NPM, but dedicated for Kubernetes application. So we release Helm plugin to begin, which is very easy to install, just a table thanks to the Helm plugin management that you only need to extract in your M directory plugin. Okay, and doing this, you get access to a new set of commands to manage your package. So the idea is like you can pull, push, and manage your application like you will do with other registry. So of course you can list them. So we did an integration also on Kwe.io. So you don't have to if you don't want, there is a SaaS way to use it. You don't have to run your own server. You can search or just find Kwe.io. You can replace by your own. Yeah, this is the ID. Then you can inspect. So everything is addressable either by release or by digest. So you can inspect a particular application. So you can see there is different release, and we can very easily pull any of them. For example, so this will just download the chart and extract it. You can do also version queries. So if you want any versions per particular version. So we are going to work also on integration with request.yml from Helm. So you see it's going to be very easy to specify dependencies and either by digest, release, or version query. Okay, and the last command, I think it's interesting, is just push. So you just need to be on the chart directory. This one, and just do registry push the namespace you want. And there's and the registry. Okay. So on Kwe, before going to the CI/CD pipeline, so we are working. This is very, I would say, a beta preview. So we have application, and so for example, I just push it all the chart from Kubernetes dash charts. We can inspect them, and yeah, so this is a just push. You can see all the releases, and soon we'll be able to download from here And we also have a concept of channels. So channels so each release are immutable, and channels allow you to specify, for example, dev, stable, beta, and this will point to a particular version. So we can just say, in your dependency, I just want to download the stable, and if there is an update, you can be notified, or the application can be automatically upgraded. Okay. Let's see how we can use that in a CI context. So I just have a small app here with a chart inside. So the app should be, yeah, no. It's, sorry. Okay. Okay, so this is the application. We'll say the production. What we can do, it's let's change the color. We want more green color. So we just change the background here to green. Sorry for the name. Yeah. So I'm using GitLab CI. Oh no, but you can just do exactly the same with any CI. So the idea here, it will do exactly the user experience, and the idea is the same with Docker. So it's going to just, I call it build the chart, which is modifying the variables, build the image, and then trigger a deployment. Let's see if we see something. Did I push it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. So create a merge request. So just a test, build chart, build image, and then we can automatically deploy a preview very easily. So this is from GitLab.com. So to link to the cluster, there is a small app that we just do a AM registry, deploy, install, and the application. Just check. More precisely. If I enter in detail, so you see here I'm doing AM registry login, like we will do with Docker login, and AM registry push of the new chart, And the build image is similarly Docker login, Docker build, and Docker push. So both going to be uploaded on Quay. And then to deploy on my production, I say I have a small app here running that we say I want to deploy this package with following M command. Here should be soon getting deployed. Here we see, so from the CI, we just deployed the application, and it will show here. So here we adjust our staging environment, deploy automatically. And as soon as we're going to merge on master, it will roll out the deployment also. it will go back to the pipeline, but with a different deployment to update this environment. We're going to see. This is,
I think the merge failed.
I think I just clicked it too much time. I'm going to, let's see. Yeah.
There we go.
Let's go back here. So for example, in this pipeline for PR, the deployment is automatic. And we can just delete it if we want. So here we just create push m delete. Okay, we are good. We are okay with this. We don't want to spend resources. And for master deployment or tag is going to be manual. So basically, these are more features from your CI, but it's give ideas of how we can manage continuous deployments. Let's wait for push. Yeah. So do you have any question while we wait? Here.
Sure, I'll ask a quick question. This is Matt. This is all working as just a standard Deis plugin, using the Deis plugin mechanism?
Yes. And yeah, it was very simple to use, so it was great. Integration was very smooth. So the installation is just, I say, double going to the M plugin directory here. And when we extract, we get the plugin.yaml. So just to show how the M plugin is working, we just give a name to the plugin and the command to execute. And here the command is just a wrapper around the app registry client, which is so small wrapper. And it's working. Okay. And here, whenever you want to deploy to prod, you can just click deploy. And the same way, it will, this time it will not create a new M. It will do perform an upgrade to the existing one. Let's see. That's it. Yeah, so we now upgraded here and should be running update should trigger, and yeah, we got the new one. That is for the demo, I think. If you have any question, you can take more.
This looks great. It's neat to see you take this from I've got the registry all the way through here's how I'm using it in a CI CD workflow. I like it. Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else with this? Thank you for the demo. This is useful. Thank you. And so with that, we move on to the next part where we walk through the stand-ups for the different things that aren't part of core Kubernetes. For those of you who aren't familiar, we alternate weeks. One week we go through, just reviewing a bunch of the projects, and then like next week we'll dive into deeper topics on a couple of things and not spend so much time. Just an overview of where a bunch of the teams are at. But this helps us just many of us have a picture of what's going on across a lot of projects. And so with that, the first one we have is Helm. Do we have anyone on who can talk about Helm today? All right, I'm going to guess silence means either nobody hears me or there's nobody on from Helm or Deis today, which for anybody who hasn't caught the news, Deis has some big news, and so those folks may not be available at the moment. It seems, according to their blog, they're joining Microsoft. So they may just be indisposed today, and we'll hear from them next time. So with that, do we have anybody on for App Controller?
Yeah, we do, I guess. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So
Sure.
I will show this. Yeah, I'm Jędrzej from Urantis. So basically, Maciej is still working on this Helm and app control integration using those rudders, right? So if anyone is interested, Maciej can provide more details, I guess. Besides that, we are working on this flows implementation. We also planned some improvements in documentation and different testing areas pretty soon. So, and that's basically all from my side here.
Wait, what was the thing you were working on improvements for? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Tests basically, because yeah, basically, yeah,
Oh,
and
good.
it was, yeah, that's basically it, all.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone on for charts? I'll take silence as we don't have anyone on from there. There might be overlap with the same folks working at home, and maybe they're not here for the same reason. In that case, app registry. Do we have, I mean, we just had this great demo of the plugin for Helm tied to the app registry. Do we have an update status beyond the demo?
So it's Antoine again. So updates are more on the Quay side with integration with the UI coming out. In terms of integration, also started to do some integration with Compose and show demo where we can store also Docker Compose file, and from that automatically deploy to Kubernetes from the registry. But there is no concrete things yet.
All right, thank you. Glad to see this coming along. All right, then we have Compose with a K. Do we have anyone on to give status of that?
Yes, I'm here, Tomasz. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we are keeping to work on improving conversions. So more recently, we are working on adding build support and fixing some issues with volumes, because it's getting a little bit tricky around volumes. And we have also started researching Docker Compose version 3, because we would like to add support for it in the near future. That's it.
All right. Then we have Open Compose. Do we have anyone to talk about Open Compose today?
That would also be me.
Ah. All right,
And
go ahead.
there is not much about Compose. We are just basically trying to figure out and verify if our approach is manageable and good, and if it can be really useful. So we are having discussions about our file structure and format, if YAML is right choice or we should use something else, and basically how to keep it whole project manageable and basically whole spec, how it can be manageable in future.
Do you have a spec that you already have you're looking for feedback on or anything like that?
Yes, we have something. It's kind of close resemblance to spec, so I can share it.
Sure. If you've got a link and you'd like some folks to review, please feel free to drop it into the notes under Open Compose, and when we get time, some of us will go take a look at it.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
And if we don't, feel free to bug us again or bring it up on the list. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, we've got about 20 minutes left. The floor is open. Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about today?
Yeah, this is Dan. Last week, there were a couple of questions on the 1.7 timeline. I don't know if people saw a lot of the proposals and stuff, but I mean, the latest date for that is June 28th. I'll paste the PR in the chat in case anyone wants to chime in or are interested. That's it.
You said it was June 28th?
Yeah, June 28th is the proposed date.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have anything else? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. The recording will be up in the next couple of days. And with that, you get 17 minutes back. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Talk to you next week.